Nobody talks about the plant that literally saved entire villages from starvation. Farmers passed it down for 800 years, but today, supermarkets treat it like decoration. Or worse, they don't sell it at all. So why did modern health food skip the greens that kept people alive for centuries? Today, we'll uncover 5 ancient greens that outsmart every modern superfood on the shelf. Quick pause before we continue. Most people scroll past this kind of knowledge, and that's how it disappears. These greens kept entire villages alive for centuries, and now they're almost forgotten. If you think losing that wisdom is a mistake, subscribe. One click helps make sure it doesn't vanish twice. Watercress. By the 1300s, watercress was already part of everyday diets across Europe. It grew wild in cold, shallow streams near villages and farms. Families gathered it not as a garnish, but as a direct source of winter nutrition. Medieval texts from England and France reference its use in broths, breads, and simple medicinal tonics. One 14th century farming guide from Norfolk even recommends planting it near cattle troughs for easy access during the frost months. Watercress ranks as the most nutrient-dense food ever tested by the CDC's 2014 nutrient density study. It scored 100 out of 100, beating out spinach, broccoli, and kale. The test measured 17 key nutrients, including vitamins A, C, K, and minerals like potassium and calcium, compared to calorie content. No other food reached a perfect score in that analysis. A raw 100-gram serving of watercress gives roughly 43 milligrams of vitamin C, which is over 70% of a basic daily value. It also contains around 200 to 250 micrograms of vitamin K, over twice the daily requirement, and 150 to 250 micrograms of vitamin A equivalents. The same serving carries 2.3 grams of protein, 1.3 grams of carbohydrates, and almost zero fat, totaling just 11 to 14 calories. That combination makes it extremely efficient per calorie, especially compared to other leafy greens. Compared side by side, iceberg lettuce offers less than 2 milligrams of vitamin C and negligible calcium. Watercress offers 10 to 20 times more nutrients in the same portion size. This mattered in winter when diets lacked fresh produce. Watercress helped prevent scurvy, supported clotting, and supplied calcium when dairy was scarce or expensive. In poor rural areas, access to watercress made a difference between chronic deficiency and basic health. Its iron content, while not very high, became more absorbable because of the plant's vitamin C. This was especially helpful for grain-based diets, where iron bioavailability was usually poor. Medical records from the 16th century hospitals in France and Germany document watercress as part of recovery meals for wounded laborers and soldiers. Today, watercress remains one of the least cultivated but most nutritionally efficient greens. It grows best in cool, wet conditions. Gardeners use shallow trays or troughs with compost-rich soil and constant water flow. Sow seeds only 0.5 to 1 centimeter deep, keep in partial sun, and within 4 to 6 weeks, harvest begins. 1 square meter of well-managed growth can yield 1 to 2 kilograms per season, with repeated harvests every few days. It regrows after each cut. Historically, people maintained these mini plots near wells and communal water points. In the modern kitchen, a small home setup easily outperforms store-bought mixed greens in nutrient delivery. The next plant looks very different. Broad, thick leaves, colorful stalks, but it shares one core quality: maximum output per square foot and centuries of medical and culinary use. Swiss chard. Swiss chard is part of the same species as beetroot, Beta vulgaris. But instead of building a root, it channels nutrients into its leaves and stalks. Historical records show it growing in monastic gardens by the 12th and 13th centuries. Monks depended on hardy, vitamin-rich vegetables to survive long periods of fasting. Chard was listed in 15th century herbals across France, Italy, and parts of Spain as a staple winter crop. A 100-gram serving of raw Swiss chard offers about 19 to 20 calories, with 1.8 to 3.3 grams of protein, 3.7 grams of carbohydrates, and up to 2 grams of fiber. What makes it unique is its high vitamin content. You get approximately 5,800 to 6,100 international units of vitamin A, over 180% of daily needs, and around 30 milligrams of vitamin C. which meets about half of the recommended intake. Vitamin K hits 830 micrograms, nearly 700% of the daily value. Minerals are equally high. Each serving brings 80 milligrams of magnesium, about 2 milligrams of iron, and 550 milligrams or more of potassium. These values match or exceed levels found in more popular vegetables. Unlike iceberg lettuce or romaine, Swiss chard delivers high impact even in small servings. In practical terms, this means a single bowl of chard helps regulate blood pressure, bone density, clotting, and muscle function. In cold climates, where dairy was limited and meat was expensive, these values mattered. Fasting days in medieval Europe often removed animal products from the diet, so vegetables like chard filled nutrient gaps without violating religious rules. Its colors also play a role. Red and yellow stalks hold betalains and flavonoids, compounds being studied for anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Some clinical studies link chard extracts to improved post-meal blood sugar regulation, which supports older folk remedies in the Mediterranean and Middle East that recommend bitter greens with heavy starchy meals. From a gardening point of view, Swiss chard is one of the most productive leafy crops. It handles both cold and moderate heat, filling the space between spring spinach and summer beans. Gardeners sow seeds 1 to 2 centimeters deep, space rows 30 to 45 centimeters apart, and leave 25 to 30 centimeters between plants. The leaves can be cut as early as 4 weeks after germination, with repeated harvests lasting up to 6 months. 1 square meter can yield 1.5 to 2 kilograms of leaves across a season. In mountain regions of Italy and southern Germany, many families still maintain small beds of chard in spring and fall, tied to specific holiday dishes or religious feasts. These dishes survive because they delivered key nutrients when fresh food was rare. The next green thrives under very different conditions. When the soil turns dry and heat rises, another plant takes over and keeps delivering nutrition when lettuce wilts and spinach fails. Amaranth leaves. Amaranth leaves come from plants in the Amaranthus genus, which includes dozens of edible varieties used for thousands of years. In Aztec agriculture, amaranth was a key crop alongside maize and beans. Both the grain and the leaves appear in religious offerings, state food stores, and daily meals. Spanish colonial records describe its use in festivals, where it was shaped into statues and eaten during rituals. When the Spanish banned amaranth grain after conquest, the leaves remained in local diets. In India, the plant is grown under the name chaulai saag. In West Africa, it's called efirid or tet, and forms the leafy base of stews eaten with yams, cassava, or maize. This global spread shows the plant's key feature. It grows where other greens fail, especially during dry or hot seasons. A raw 100 grams serving of amaranth leaves delivers about 23 calories, 2.5 to 3.8 grams of protein, and around 4 grams of carbs, including 2 grams of fiber. Calcium ranges between 215 to 280 milligrams, higher than most leafy vegetables. Magnesium sits at 55 to 65 milligrams, potassium reaches 610 milligrams, and iron averages 2 to 3 milligrams. These figures put it in the same range as high mineral foods like kale, collards, and even cheese in terms of calcium. Vitamin C often lands near 40 to 43 milligrams. Vitamin A reaches 290 to 370 micrograms, and vitamin K exceeds 110 micrograms, covering most daily needs. The vitamin C content also boosts iron absorption, which helps in diets based on legumes and grains, where iron uptake is usually low. For manual workers in tropical regions, amaranth provides electrolytes lost through sweat and supports muscle recovery. In modern studies of rural diets in Nigeria, Ghana, India, and Sri Lanka, amaranth leaves account for a large share of total calcium and iron intake. When these leaves disappear from seasonal markets, cases of anemia and joint pain tend to increase. For this reason, some public health programs now promote it as a low-cost supplement crop in urban gardens. Amaranth thrives in hot soil above 18 degrees Celsius and resists drought better than lettuce, spinach, or cabbage. Seeds are sown shallowly, barely covered, and thinned out to space plants 30 to 60 centimeters apart. Leaf types grow waist-high in about 30 days. Once plants reach 20 to 30 centimeters, leaves and tender stems are harvested, and new growth follows. In good conditions, a small plot can yield several kilograms per square meter per season. Amaranth also fits well into crop rotation cycles. It improves soil texture and suppresses weeds when used as a fast-growing green manure crop. Its low water needs make it a key survival crop during climate-stressed summers. As the weather cools and frost returns, Amaranth fades. That's when another cold-resistant plant steps forward, designed by centuries of harsh winters to hold nutrients under ice and snow. Kale. Kale belongs to the Brassica oleracea group, the same species as cabbage, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. Unlike others in this family, kale does not form a head. It grows as loose, open leaves, which allows it to survive deep into winter. In Northern Europe, especially Scotland, Scandinavia, and parts of Germany, kale was once the most reliable green vegetable. Cold-resistant and productive, it fed millions through months when no fresh food grew. By the 17th century, kale yards were common outside cottages across rural Scotland. Families built fences around them to protect them from livestock. Kale became so embedded in daily survival that in some dialects, the word for dinner was simply kale. In times of famine or war, this plant prevented malnutrition when nothing else remained. Nutritional analysis of raw kale shows 35 to 50 calories per 100 grams, with 3.3 to 4.3 grams of protein, 4.4 grams of carbs, and nearly 4 grams of fiber. Vitamin C varies between 80 to 120 milligrams, exceeding 100% of daily needs. Vitamin A equivalents reach 480 to 950 micrograms, and vitamin K levels can hit 390 to 700 micrograms, which is over 500% of the basic requirement. In mineral content, kale provides around 150 milligrams of calcium, 47 milligrams of magnesium, 1.5 milligrams of iron, and 450 milligrams of potassium per 100 grams. The combination supports bone strength, blood clotting, oxygen transport, and heart rhythm. Kale also contains lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoids essential for eye protection. These reach 11 to 40 milligrams per 100 grams, far more than found in carrots or corn. Kale's defense chemicals include glucosinolates, like glucobrassicin and senegrin. When chewed, enzymes in the plant convert them into isothiocyanates, which are under study for roles in detoxification and cancer resistance. Populations that eat regular cruciferous vegetables, such as kale, show lower rates of colon and lung cancer, though other lifestyle factors also play a role. Its cold resistance is unmatched among common vegetables. Most kale varieties survive minus 10 degrees Celsius or lower, especially under snow cover. This frost exposure changes the leaf chemistry, converting starches into sugars. That's why kale becomes sweeter in winter, a shift measurable in lab sugar tests and confirmed in taste panels. Gardeners sow kale 4 to 6 weeks before last frost in spring or late summer for fall harvest. Rows are spaced 30 to 60 centimeters apart, and plants grow over 60 to 90 centimeters tall. Leaves are picked from the outside in, allowing continued growth. One plant can yield several hundred grams per cut, with total yield reaching 3 to 5 kilograms per square meter per season. Even after snowfall, families harvest kale directly from the frozen ground. In North Germany and the Netherlands, winter kale dishes with sausage and potatoes remain national meals. The plant outlasts lettuce, cabbage, and spinach. And what comes next survives even less. It stings, spreads fast, and yet outperforms spinach in nearly every nutrient category. Stinging nettle. Stinging nettle, or Urtica dioica, grows anywhere with nitrogen-rich soil and moisture. Roadsides, barn edges, hedge bottoms, and riverbanks often host large patches. Its defense system includes tiny hollow hairs on the leaves and stems that inject histamine, acetylcholine, and formic acid when touched. The sting causes itching, burning, and swelling, which helps protect the plant from grazing animals. Despite this, records from Roman, Anglo-Saxon, and medieval European texts show nettle as food and medicine. A 10th century English manuscript from Winchester lists nettle pottage as a spring food for strengthening blood. German herbals from the 15th century described nettle teas for kidney flushing and treatments for joint stiffness. Italian monastic gardens kept patches of nettle not for removal, but for controlled harvest. Once cooked, the stinging effect vanishes. Boiling or blanching the leaves for just 1 to 2 minutes neutralizes the irritants. What remains is a dark green leaf with nutritional levels far beyond most greens. Vitamin C content reaches 175 to 200 milligrams per 100 grams, nearly 4 times higher than spinach, and over twice the daily requirement for adults. Calcium ranges from 430 to 630 milligrams per 100 grams, magnesium between 57 to 86 milligrams, and potassium often measures 330 to 670 milligrams, depending on soil and season. Iron content can reach 3 to 7 milligrams, far higher than most cultivated vegetables. These figures are confirmed by multiple lab analyses from Europe, often comparing nettle directly with spinach and showing clear superiority in micronutrient content. Nettle also contains carotenoids like beta-carotene and lutein, and high levels of chlorophyll and polyphenols, which contribute to antioxidant activity. Lab studies in Finland and Germany show nettle extract ranks among the highest for free radical scavenging. Clinical trials now examine nettle leaf and root extract in cases of benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, arthritis pain, and seasonal allergies, with early results suggesting modest benefits. Its agricultural value increased during the war. In World War I and II, when textile imports collapsed, Germany and Austria harvested nettle fiber for military use. Nettles were processed into nettle cloth, a rough linen alternative used in German army uniforms. The same plant burned the skin and clothed the soldier. For cultivation, nettle grows aggressively through creeping rhizomes. Most gardeners plant it in containers or isolated beds to prevent spreading. It prefers partial shade and organic, rich soils, often from old manure or compost heaps. Plants reach 60 to 120 centimeters, and harvesting begins as soon as young shoots reach 15 to 20 centimeters. Cutting with gloves is essential. Shoots are best in spring and early summer, when nitrate levels are low and flavor is mild. Dried nettle leaves store well and form the base of calcium-rich teas still used across rural Europe. In survival terms, nettle remains one of the most underrated food crops in the world. It arrives early, grows fast, and replaces mineral supplements at no cost, if you're willing to touch it. If even one of these greens surprised you, you're not alone. Their stories run deeper than most people realize. For more hidden history and raw nutrition truths, just tap the next video now.